My name is Officer Darren Hadirian, and I work for the Boynton Beach Police Department Marine Unit.
And can you spell your name for us?
First name is Darren, D-A-R-I-N. Last name Hadirian, H-E-D-E-R-I-A-N.
So how did you end up on this scene?
I was on routine patrol on the police boat for the city of Boynton Beach on Saturday afternoon, and roughly around 12:18 in the afternoon, my dispatcher gave me a call for a WaveRunner crash with two bodies possibly in the water.
And so, we all see the police boats, but is this something that regularly happens where you guys are having to go fish people out of the water?
Unfortunately, WaveRunner accidents and vessel accidents are common. We don't like to see that happen, but it's South Florida. Very busy, a lot of registered boats, a lot of vessel traffic, just like on the roadways. And if that happens, that's something that our Marine unit will address.
So what did it look like when you guys got there?
When I arrived on scene, I found a WaveRunner floating with no bodies on it, no occupants, and some witnesses standing on the seawall that were pointing in the water at what appeared to be two people with their heads down, face down in the water.
So with this, did their life vests essentially save their lives, that they were still floating at least, or?
Both occupants were wearing their PFDs, their personal flotation devices. They have to legally. Those life jackets did save their lives. Although their heads were underwater, the life jacket did keep them afloat and made it possible for me to visually see them and grab them and remove them from the water.
Yeah, so what did you guys do once you get up there? You are in arm's length of them. What happened here?
Well, as I arrived on scene with the police boat, like I said, the WaveRunner was floating there. No one was on it. Some witnesses were pointing in the water to where the individuals were, and I was able to utilize a tool that I have on my police boat called a boat hook, and I was able to grab the harness, the life jacket, and move the first victim to the stern, the back of the vessel, and basically grab the life jacket and put the person on the back of the boat and remove them from the water.
Do you know he was alive, sir? You know, when you started pulling him?
As my first visual inspection, I thought that this individual was deceased.
So what happened from there?
So after the first individual was removed from the water and put on the back of the police boat, I then made my way to the front of the boat to try to locate the other victim that was in the water. At that moment, I had looked up and I saw that another officer had arrived on scene. I was grateful for that. I knew that I had help. That officer ended up getting on the police boat with me. We were able to locate this second victim in the water, used the boat hook once again, brought that individual closer to the boat, and both of us were able to lift this individual out of the water and onto the seawall for other officers to perform CPR and medical assistance.
And were they alive when you got to them? Like, were their hearts beating? Were they breathing? Or did y'all have to get them going?
My initial assessment of both of these individuals was I thought they had expired. I thought that they were deceased. After I was able to get my bearings and get off the police boat and onto the seawall, other officers were performing life-saving measures, and I heard one of them say that one of them is breathing, so we knew that there might have been a chance.
How long, officer, was it before, from when you got the call to when you arrived? That's my first question.
Upon receiving the call, the location of the accident happened to be a short distance from where I was patrolling. I was able to make it there rather quickly. I believe that from the time the accident happened to my police boat arriving on scene was no more than 3 to 5 minutes.
And what kind of injuries did they have?
First visual inspection was one of the individuals had lacerations to their head, and it was unknown if they were breathing initially when they were in the water. There was a lot of salt water that was coming from their mouths. At that point, we didn't know if they were deceased or what their medical situation was.
So you're thinking, the thought is that they were in the water for 3 to 5 minutes? Like with their heads in the water?
I arrived on scene and their mouths were below the water surface line. It's really unknown to give no more than 5 minutes where their head's underwater. It's really tough to give an approximate or close numerical time of how long their heads are underwater.
But that sort of made your quick arrival maybe the difference between life and death. Is that too much to say, or?
Yeah. I mean, the location of this WaveRunner accident was in a very popular area, a tourist attraction area, which is where we like to keep the police boat, and where everyone can see that we are patrolling and we're there for everyone's safety. So I had a very short response time from my patrol area to the accident location, which was crucial in this case.
And I'm sure it was really jarring to pull up. You're thinking you're about to have to deal with 2 dead bodies, and then now we know that they both are recovering, they survived, they're okay. So as an officer who I'm sure you see a lot, how does it feel to have this turn into a happy ending kind of story?
It's mixed feelings. In South Florida, a boating day is supposed to be a pleasurable day where everybody has fun. You don't really look or anticipate for that to happen, but while we're on patrol, we try to be ready in the event something like that does happen. It did happen. We snapped into action. We executed the way we should execute, and it's just relieving that this case had such a positive turnout considering what we initially saw when we arrived on scene.
Anything else for Darren? Okay, that was perfect. Thank you so much. All right.
Okay. Oh, the mic's up here, right? What do you mean? Oh, you mean this?
Yeah, I mean, 13 years we've been doing this, so yeah. So we were definitely, we've had our hands in there. Hello. I was hoping this reporter was ready, but I think he's still trying to get some information.
Okay, yeah. So basically how it'll work is you'll look into what we're asking questions, so gazing deeply into the camera awkwardly, and we edit it, so you don't have to be perfect. That's the good news. How's your Wednesday going?
It's Wednesday. It's hump day.
Yeah. So the end is maybe near.
Getting closer.
Yeah. All right.
Everyone ready?
You ready?
All right. Greg Koch, Gregg, last name Koch, Koch, officer for the Boynton Beach Police Department.
So talk about how often you guys are having to deal with incidents on the water, specifically here in Boynton, because of not only tourists but people who are here maybe had too much to drink or trying to have a good boating day but get a little out.
Well, what we see this time of year is a lot of the northerners come down to enjoy our state and our city. So a lot of the equipment they use are rented. They're not actually personally owned. So they're kind of inexperienced, whether it's a jet ski, a boat, a pontoon boat. And that's one of the biggest issues we have this time of year compared to the summertime when it's mostly the Florida residents who own their own equipment.
And so talk about what are some of the most common things that result in crashes when it comes to jet skis?
The most common is unfamiliarity with the vessel itself. Normally, someone who owned one would have more experience, so that would be the primary cause of a lot of our accidents out on the water. Is, like I said, inexperience is the number one. The second one would be speed. And busyness of traffic out on the water, that's another common one. It gets very congested on the weekends, especially around the holidays.
And with this pair that you guys rescued, were they renters, or do we know if they were?
Yes, the machine they were operating was rented, and they only had been on it for less than 5 minutes before the crash happened, from the time they left the dock to the time of impact.
Do you have any ideas, sir, how fast they hit it? Were they full speed? Do you have any witness reports about the impact itself?
No, we do not have an impact speed, but it's not a vehicle. It doesn't have crumple zones. It doesn't have airbags. It doesn't have seat belts. And when you hit a concrete wall, it just does not give.
And so what are some things that you're asking people to consider, either if they're, a business owner who are renting out these vehicles, or if they're down here vacationing and want to get one of these?
My advice to the people who are actually renting them is spend a little more time with the education process while they're on the dock, and just reassure these people to just go slow when they first leave the dock and take it easy till they get familiar with them. That's with the jet skis and personal watercraft. As far as the vessels, we request that they wear their life jackets. Even though it's not a law for everyone on board to wear that life jacket, the case we had on that Saturday, those life jackets saved their lives, because if they were not, they were unconscious, they probably would have sank, and the result would not have been the same.
Can you speak at all to how lucky these two individuals were? So the officer said that most times these cases, you're taking out people that are deceased. So
in my 20 years of experience, I've never seen an end result like this with a crash of this extent.
And so how does that feel to you to know that this did have a happy ending, unlike a lot of different things you'll see?
It makes us feel important for going out there, and that our job is very important to be out there on the water. It's not all fun and games and wave to people, and it can get very serious very quickly.